my name is Aisha, and I'm going to be doing some questions. I'm going to go around college and ask other people what they really think about this topic. Our topic is social analysis and social change. And this is Salman here, and my name is Aisha. It's very nice to meet you. So what are different ways of framing an issue such as poverty? What do you think about poverty?
Poverty doesn't come like this. Poverty comes when you don't have any employment opportunities. So because of unemployment, poverty can be an issue. So what I think about poverty is that government should really promote that, and they should care who are in poverty. Poverty means who are poor, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But do you really think it's that a lot of people from different countries are coming and they have master degrees and they have other degrees, and us as in like we're living in Canada already and they just have a college degree, and chances are that people are hiring them now and not us. They're like overlooking at the fact. What do you think about that?
See, it's a balanced situation around here. For the economic situation, the government of Canada has to bring some international funds so that they can improve the economy as well. As we see the other side of the coin, that local people in Canada there should be some quota system as well. You know, they have the right to get a job as well because they are the citizen of this country. So, compared to the degrees, see, at the end of the day, if you have the talent, you will get a job. Degrees are there anywhere, you can get anywhere in the world. But if you have the talent, if you have the if you have the abilities, and the government should do some initiative for the local citizens as well to get a job.
So, what do you think about stereotypes?
Stereotypes, can you say it?
Stereotype is basically like someone judging a group of people, like as in different. From different cultures, or there's like different race or anything.
Yeah.
So they put a difference between everyone. So what do you think about that?
See, I totally disagree with the stereotypes because one should not judge any culture or any kind of group based on their look or based on their behavior. But stereotype is not, especially in Canada, I have not seen stereotypes. It's wonderful they are welcoming everybody, and stereotypes should be not allowed in our society.
So I'll ask you one more question. What do you think about, how does social media affect an individual?
Nowadays, absolutely, social media affects everybody, and especially all the business enterprises are also into digital marketing, so they are targeting everybody, and social media is influencing everybody, and the way the people behave, and they want to post every activity they do in their day-to-day life into social media. So they are much more effective, especially according to me. I myself is affected to social media because I have to talk to people, and there's an advantage of social media as well. You can do networking, you can create lots of opportunities as lots of people are in social media.
Thank you very much. This is Raj here, and I'm doing the same thing again. I'm going to ask him about some question and what he thinks about social analysis and social change. So, Raj, what do you think about stereotypes?
Stereotypes, I think it's more to do with our own mental makeup. I mean, when we as kids, we are like, some things are just fed into our brains. It depends on the culture that we come from. I think it's more to do with upbringing and what parents, teach us as kids, and that kind of gets set. And also media has a big impact on it, because they create these stereotypes by the means of news and whatnot. I think it's more or less it depends on who we are, our mental makeup, and the kind of exposure that we have.
So, what needs to change in society in order to make a difference?
Well, I think we should make sure that our kids are aware of a lot of things from a very young age, and we should teach them to be aware people. Aware as in question the stuff that you're being taught. I mean, just don't accept stuff like on its face value. Question the system. Try to figure out stuff yourself.
So, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when you hear about the word social change?
Social change. Well, from where I come from, India, social change, well, it's more to do with meaning commitment. That's the first thing that came to mind. And to be socially accepting to people like now since I'm here in Canada, I think it's a very accepting society. So they accept the meetings and stuff. So I think social change should be more to do with people accepting variety.
And what do you is social media out of control?
Social media, well, these days everyone's online. By social media, what exactly?
You got a little bit. Yeah.
Press or
It's press and networking and everything.
well, right now I think it is sort of going overboard. I mean, it's like everyone's online and there's a lot of content which is being posted. So I think sort of overboard. I guess. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah, sure.
What are some social problems an individual faces on an everyday basis?
Well, I think I saw one of those boards there to do with, what do you call it? I think writing of stuff or writing. I'm not getting the exact word. I think it's more of like, people, sometimes they just pick on one person because he's different, or maybe because the way he talks, maybe he talks differently, or maybe he's a little bit of an outcast, so maybe that kind of thing people face on a day-to-day basis. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Raj, for helping me out here, and see you around in college. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be part of it.
Okay, thank you. You too. Bye.
Ready?
Hi, I have Mel with me, and I'll ask her questions, three different questions, what she thinks about social analysis and social change. So, Mel, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when you hear the word social change? Yeah.
I think the things that is important and thing is like the action of people. Yeah.
And what do you think about stereotypes?
Stereotypes. I think they can be bad, but like most of the things that most of people have. Yeah.
And one last question. Is social media out of control nowadays days?
I think yes, because like mainstream media is really strong, so like local media is losing their power. So like whatever we think, like most of people like they are like following the mainstream media, so like it's out of control. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mel, for answering my question.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. I'm making a video on social analysis and social change. I have Ada Joki with me.
Hello.
She's mainly doing the video and stuff. Thank you. And I'll just ask her what she thinks about some of the questions. So, what do you think about stereotypes, Ada Joki?
Stereotyping to me is people just generalizing a group of people. Like, for instance, me, I'm black, okay? And I feel like they generalize us because of our cultures and our ancestors and all that stuff. So, like, when I hear that all black people love watermelon. It's very offensive to me.
So, is social media out of control?
Nowadays, I think they use social media to drag out negative context. Like, say the president of the United States had a scandal affair with another woman, like Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Like, that stuff is negative aspect that we do not need in society.
Okay. And one more question I would ask you. What are different ways of framing an issue like poverty?
Well, first, the government should build more shelters for people who are less fortunate, and we should help out all these people that do not, like, we should have fundraisers or like more food drives for them because it's hard for them to get a job or to live in society.
Okay. Thank you, Adijoki, and thank you for helping me film this, and thank you for answering questions. Hi, I'm with Cody right now, so I'll be asking some questions with Cody, and he'll answer how social change and social analysis affects the world. So, what are the different ways of framing an issue like poverty?
Like poverty? Basically, I don't know, it's probably not the answer that you really want to hear. You have to have poverty. It's just like good and bad. You can't have one without the other. Where there's going to be rich, there's going to be poor.
And are stereotypes true?
100%. I would feel so because stereotypes are there for a reason, not necessarily saying the right reason, but they are there.
Okay. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about the word social change?
Not too much. Probably one of the first times I've heard it, so I just feel like it's probably more guided towards social media and how the propaganda is changing how we socialize with one another.
And what needs to change in society to make it better? What do you think on your side?
Just, I don't know, you could always just hope for better things, but more or less just like the environment and how we're cutting down trees. And I say it hypocritically because I am part of the problem, but we all are. I drive trucks, but the more we try to progress in life, I feel like the more we take a step back from Mother Nature, it's just not going to get any better.
One last question. In social media, is social media out of control?
Yeah, social media is very out of control, and it's so, like, I guess, persuasive to the viewers that if you look nowadays, like, little kids have cell phones and they have these devices that link them to everywhere else, and nothing is a secret, nothing is hidden. Now that we spent so many years of having diaries where we want nobody to see it, now we're putting everything out there to see it. It's very counterproductive in the way that we're contributing to society.
Thank you so much, Cody, for helping me with this interview. Have a nice day. Thank you. I have Sarish with me right here. I'll ask her some questions on how social analysis and social change affects the world. So, are stereotypes true?
Yeah, I think they are very true. I mean, a lot of times I feel like we like to believe that they aren't there, but they definitely are here, and we need to work towards like breaking them all the time. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to solve a problem, first you need to identify the problem. I mean, even though it's a diverse country, I feel like there's tolerance of diversity, but there's not true assimilation. So there's not really like, I don't think people are really getting together as much as they should.
And how does social media affect an individual?
I think social media is really good because I feel like it gives people the power to express themselves and to give out news that might not be out there like on TV and everything, but might be just as important, you know what I mean? So it allows people to express what they think is also important and needs to be given attention. So it's a really great outlet, I believe.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for helping me out with us. Have a nice day.
Good luck.
This is is Nida, my co-worker. So I'm just gonna ask her some questions about social analysis and social change, how it affects the world. So I'll ask her about Nida, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about social change, the word social change?
So when I hear social change, the first thing I think is democracy, and how it's always the will of the people that brings about social change to make a better country or society or community. Yeah.
Okay, so just one more question. Okay, what do you think about stereotypes?
Stereotypes, I think that a lot of the time, most of the time, 100% of the time, they're not true, and it's really racist, and it's a new way of doing racism, creating caricatures of a culture that aren't always true.
Okay, thank you so much, Nida. I loved having you here, so I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Yeah. So this is Matthew, and it's one of the customers I see every day or sometimes. So he will be answering some questions about social analysis and social change, how it affects the world.
Well, so one of the ones I wanted to address was about social media. How does social media affect an individual? I find that social media can perpetuate or reinforce certain stereotypes. It's just a tool, but it's very powerful in that if you're not careful, you can accidentally reinforce stereotypes or accidentally be exposed to different things, good and bad, things that can be promoting open, honest communication without stereotyping people. It can also be bad in that some people might be fooled into becoming more stereotypical, more racist, more prejudiced towards people of other cultures and appearances.
Okay. Any other questions you want to answer?
Stereotypes being true. Yep, they're definitely true. It's almost a tool that people use to quickly sort people and identify people who are different. It can be a good thing or a bad thing. It can be good in that it makes you able to relate to someone from another culture much quicker if you know their customs, where they're coming from, the way they communicate, like eye contact, body posture. It's all different across different stereotypes. How people perceive friendliness, how people perceive different just social interactions in general. So it helps, but then it can also hurt if people aren't tactful in the way they implement that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Matthew, for doing this. Thank you. This is Randall with me right here, and I'll ask him some questions about social analysis and social change, how it is affecting the world. So, Randall, what do you think about stereotypes?
Well, I think stereotypes do exist, and they exist for a reason of popular belief. It's something that's very hard to get past. There are a few special individuals that may get past it, and we can try to celebrate them or persecute them. But in any other sense, we always consider them as special. The vast majority, they never get past the stereotypes. The stereotypes always remain.
Okay, so do you think they're true?
They are. They're true because we make them true. Self-fulfilling prophecies.
Okay.
Both in terms of how we raise our kids and how we look at other people and how we act and how we expect other people to act. The stereotypes become true.
Okay, so what do you think? Is social media getting out of hand, like out of control?
Yes, largely because it's still very much anonymous, and people feel safe to do and act in ways that they would normally act in a more public setting. So I think it's good to have that freedom to express yourself, but there's just way too many that take it too far.
Okay. So just one last question. How does social media affect an individual?
Well, as I said, I mean, it gives them that sense of privacy, and therefore it opens up the world to them. But it also brings out too many of the negative sides of human nature.
Okay.
I do think it has a great potential to bring out some of the positives in individuals. We talked about stereotypes before, and it would be a way to start to break some of that mold because you start to express your individuality rather than the norm of what you're expected to be.
Okay, thank you so much, Randall, for doing this. Thank you. This message is approved to you by Aisha Qureshi. Thanks for watching.